like I'm going to be turning it towards you a lot. And so it might come across as like inquisition. That's not the point. The point is like to really, a lot of people, they don't, in fact, this part I'm going to include actually in the recording. So I'll say this piece because I think I don't want to repeat it. Okay, so we'll get started. Tres, dos, uno, cero. What's up, everybody? This is Enlightened Masculinity Podcast. I'm your host, Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, IMC Nation captain, streaming to you from IMC Base 1, the first base of IMC Nation here in San Jose, California. And I have today a man that we've had on the show a few times, but I don't know if we've had him on as base leader. He's been ranking up. He's the IMC Nation base leader of Base 2 San Jose. He's a lawyer in 30 states and counting, Harvard graduate and co-owner of the IMC Martial Arts and Fitness Center that, he teaches at, I teach at, and, we're starting this whole thing. It's an amazing thing. That's like, money-wise, that's the least successful of all our endeavors, but it's like the most rewarding, man. I love that center, sparring and teaching and fighting. And it's like, it's my fight gym. Fuck yeah. So, and also Wil's, because he's part owner. So I have him on the show today, and we're going to be picking his brain. A lot of people, this is what I was about to tell you before the show, before I clicked record, Wil, is that a lot of people don't brag about themselves. And bragging doesn't have to be like all of the achievements or whatever. It's just the little details in your own mindsets and whatever. And sometimes we'll hold back if it's just ourselves. But if someone else is kind of feeding us the questions to expose ourselves like that, then, it works out social dynamically and everything. And, I'd like people to get to know you. Like you're a big shot. You're a big shot in IMC Nation. And IMC Nation is a big shot in the world. And anyway, so I was about to pitch the TikToks and everything. Everything's blowing up. So probably this recording will blow up. It gets posted on all the platforms. So smash that like, smash that subscribe on Apple and Spotify and all that. Leave a comment. And we just finished sparring Wil. So I don't know if you, let's hear from a lawyer, a Harvard graduate, check in with us. How would you, if someone's like, it's a common thing. Everybody's like, how are you? How's your day going? That common question. How's a man like you answer that? If I was like, how's your day going, bro?
How would I answer that?
Yeah, without holding back, like, really like just unleash on it instead of the casual, like, great, man, how's you?
Yeah, no, unleash, like very honest and straightforward. It's fucking amazing. Every day I'm so grateful for this life, man. Like, I don't know how I ended up here or how any of this really ended up happening, but it's all just happening so quickly and it's all fucking dope. Like I grew up doing martial arts. I fucking love martial arts. I'm fucking killing it as a lawyer. Like I'm starting to make more money than I've ever made before. I'm here at Base 2 with some dope ass guys. Like, and then we all go out and we all like get girls and are very savvy, like witty socially. And they're all funny as hell, man. If anything, those are my favorite interactions. Is just kind of like being around the guys and we're just like kicking the shit, being funny. The Warrior Center is awesome. Being a lawyer is awesome. I don't know. Is there really anything else? Really, as far as my own development, like I said, like I'm just very grateful, man. It's like this, like I just have to thank God. Like all of this just worked out so perfectly. Like I would have never imagined that I would be sitting here right now, like in this beautiful home with some dope people. We're about to go out again, and then we're gonna go somewhere else, and then go somewhere else, and then I get to be with the fucking #1 player on earth, and he's like my friend. He's my friend. You're my friend. Like what the fuck? Like you guys were just on YouTube at one point to me. You know what I mean? Like yeah. I saw your Instagram and I was like, oh, he does yoga. That's pretty cool. And then AZD does like pickup and, mindset, which is really all I ever really wanted to learn. And now he's my friend. And I was sparring with him earlier today. Like, how did this happen, bro? Like, how the fuck did any of this happen? But here we are. And I only see it getting higher and higher at an accelerating pace. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm only going to get more skilled as a lawyer, as a businessman, as a part owner. Like I got 2 confirmed signups for tomorrow's kids class. So like it's just like,
who's teaching kids tomorrow? You? Are you the kids?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So really, as of late, it's been more like the mindset has been business. And I've never had, like, I was child to a single mother. She did not own a business. She was an employee. All I've ever known in my entire life was how to be an employee. And so now, since becoming the part owner, I see myself as a businessman, as a salesman. And that shift in mindset just changes everything I do. It's just like with social dynamics, it's like once once something clicks, like you can't go back. It's like getting out of the matrix, you know. It's like the idea of being an employee to under somebody is just kind of fucking weird to me now. And it's like, no, like I need to be the one making all of this shit happen. And now I'm implementing that, you know, with the guys here at Base 2, with our own you know, residency and our own products like that. So everything's great, man. Everything's really, 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 really great.
Would you explain to the audience what is IMC Base 2? What is this? You live with a bunch of dope guys and that, like, expand on that. People that don't have a reality from 0 to hero, like 0 to 100. What is that? If you explain that to us.
Yeah. So I'm basically living with 4 other men who are on the AZD process. So I would say that's like the baseline. So the AZD process being, we all sleep on the floor. We all do transcendental meditation. We all read Stoicism. We all take cold showers. We all like work out and are focused on our body and are focused on advancing our mind. Like these are, and then on top of that is the social dynamics. On top of that is we all go fighting together. It's like this integrated lifestyle that is very much outside of the normie world, as I would call it. Like whenever I go back to Houston, it's like, dude, normies, like you guys, like I can see very clearly that these people, they don't have a philosophy of how to live their lives. And they're just kind of mushy. I see them as like mushy gushy, you know, people that are just kind of, if you've ever read Outwitting the Devil, he talks about drifting. And so drifting is when you don't really have a set purpose. You're just kind of being blown around with the wind. And we are not that at all. Like we have a purpose and we're all creating that together. And we're doing it under the banner of IMC, which is, you know, AZD's world, really. Like we're living in this world where we're all monks. We're all warrior monks, shape-shifting warrior monks. And we move through the world like that. And as we're doing that, we're learning all of this stuff: business, social dynamics, health, fitness, philosophy. Really at the baseline is the philosophy for me. Like it's the mindset. It's how do you approach these things? Do you approach the world like as a prey, like, you know, as someone who's hands out asking for something, or are you a warrior out to conquer and out to create and get what you know you deserve in your life? Like that is how I see it.
Yeah, and that brings a lot of questions to my own mind, because, you know, one of the things you said is like the way that you live with these guys is out of the matrix. What do you mean by that?
The matrix being being, okay, let me get a girl and get married and have kids and like live together and like that whole thing. And then whenever someone gets a girlfriend, then they release from their male social groups, and then they just become secluded with the girl, and then they're not allowed to do shit. It's like that is the matrix. It's like the story that has been fed to you through Hollywood, through the internet, through the news, like how you're supposed to live your life, quote unquote. Like that is what I see as the matrix. And so we've taken the red pill and we've kind of been extracted from that, and that's not how we're living. Like we don't live with women. Well, you know, we have women, we fucking go out and get women all the time, but we realize that there's a time and place for that thing, and it's very planned, it's very strategic. Like we know how to interact with each other and with the woman in a very specific way that is not done by the rest of Earth. Like I don't know anyone else that's doing stuff like this.
Man, that just brings all kinds of questions. So what are the ways that you interact with women that are completely different than everyone else out there?
Yeah, so for the main one is they don't own our fucking balls. Like they're not, they don't decide who I talk to or where I go or what I do. Like whenever I would like randomly, I don't know, someone recommends a show to me, and then like I will see the social dynamics in the social dynamic programming in like the movie or in like the sitcom or whatever.
Right.
And the idea is always that the guy is like a dunce, a fucking dumbass. He's usually fat and not very in shape. And the woman is kind of telling him what to do. And she's like the smart one, and she's like the leader, and he's just kind of like following along, and he just kind of pays the bills. Like that whole storyline is very fucked up, like for the man. Like it's very unfortunate. And so it's the opposite of that. It's really the path that was brought, you know, under God, which is that the God is in Christ, Christ is the man, man is over the woman, woman is over the child. Like there's a set hierarchy. And so that is how we interact. And then as far as each other's women, like, you know, whenever girls come in and out, it's like we don't interact with the woman. That's whoever the brother is that's bringing her in, like that's her girl. That's his girl. So we don't look at them, we don't talk to them. They, you know, they come in, hang out with the guy or whatever. We're all keeping our distance, and then they leave. Like It's not all of us, here together looking at each other's girls and talking to each other's girls. Like, no, that's weird, dude. And that's what leads to so many problems that everyone is facing. Like, guys try to get at each other's girls behind their backs, and it's like it's really nasty, man. It's really unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Yeah, so it really spells it out. It's interesting because a lot of people watch my podcast, and some of them are women, and some of them are in relationships to me, and in some way through time, or at least study me to some degree, we could say. And so it's very interesting for me to hear other people say it. And I know that some of them may hear this, and it's fine. And it doesn't even matter. My guest could put his foot in his mouth, or he could say something off the wall or something I don't agree with, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It should be known that, like, I'm separate from these other guys. But also, it's like when you hear a song played through a guitar, and then you hear it through a piano, and then you hear it through a saxophone, and then you hear it through and it's like, it's just nice sometimes. So, there was another thing that you said that was like, off the wall, kind of, nobody has a reality on it. I don't even know what people would think when they hear it. And it may have just passed by. They wouldn't even question it. Maybe they've already forgotten it. But it would be basically, how are you a shape-shifting warrior monk?
Oh, man. Fuck yeah.
What is that? What do you mean a shape-shifting warrior monk?
This is my favorite shit. So for me, the concept was introduced at the beginning of 2020 when AZD started, sharing his process with us. And the concept is that, what is a monk? A monk is a spiritual man, one who is under God and who follows I don't know how to say, like, how he follows God. And, however he decides to choose that practice, whether that be Buddhism, Christianity, etc. Like, but it's a man that's devoted to God and sees that as the highest priority or the highest calling. And then everything else kind of goes, is secondary to that. Like that's the primary focus. And then as far as like shape shifting, fuck, dude, that's really getting into the process. So when AZD first kind of introduced this, the one of the first things you do is you pick an animal, like an animal that kind of calls to you, like a totem animal.
Mm-hmm.
And you choose it, and you kind of, in your mind, in your philosophy, kind of take on its ways, so to speak. So for me, it was the wolf. And so what I really liked about the wolf was that it had a wolf pack. And so that was just really cool to me. And so I would just kind of imagine, okay, if I were in the world of the animal, as a wolf, like, how would I be? And I remember this was like early 2020. And AZD asked me, like, what was in my imagination? In my imagination, I was a wolf. I was surrounded by my pack. We were all black. Like, for whatever reason, that's what in my eyes, we were black wolves. And we were all kind of patrolling through the forest together. And I remember I had a sense of like power, a sense of being at ease, because, I'm surrounded by my people. And then kind of a focus, like it's like we're about to go to the hunt. And that whole concept really just changed how I lived and how I felt. Like, if you live with these ideas, it shifts how you move and how you view the world. And then, so that was my first animal. And then after that was the tiger. And then there's a whole process into like being a tiger and how that makes you feel. And then, so the shape shifting is that you can take on it started with the animals, right? Like that's just kind of a concept to get you into the idea of it. Mm-hmm. And so it went from a wolf to a tiger. Then I think I was a bull, then an eagle, and all of these powerful animals. And what it does underneath is basically let you know that it's the Bruce Lee saying, it's be water, be fluid. You are not confined to whatever little reality you have right now in your mind, right? When you were 6 years old, you had a certain reality. When you were 12, you had a different reality. When you were 18, I just turned 29. My reality is completely different than it was 10 years ago. And so I am not bound by anything that I even myself put on myself before. Like I am willing and very happy to shift into whatever mindset that I need for the given moment. And so this applies to everything, man. This applies to your business. Like, okay, if this particular business marketing strategy is not working, you need to be able to shift. You need to be able to, okay, well, now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do something else. Say if you're in your relationships, if some sort of agreement is no longer working because you realize that, I actually don't want this, then you need to be able to shift your mind and to properly communicate it to the woman or whoever you're talking to, your father, your parents, your brother, your sister. Like, you need to be able to move and shape shift in every aspect of your life. So me, I'm a fucking shapeshifter myself. I go into the world of law. I go to court. I'm speaking to a judge. I'm speaking to other attorneys. That is a whole character. That is a whole package deal that I do. Then I go out in field, and then I'm like talking to my friends, talking to girls, opening sets, getting drinks. That is a whole different character. I mean, I'm still a lawyer, but that is a different way of being that I am being. I'm not talking formally the way I would talk to a judge. And then say I go home and I see my mother and my father, then I am the son. I am the child of my mom. I am the child of my dad. And that is a certain way of being that goes along with that. So I'm constantly shape-shifting depending on what the environment needs. And AZD has been talking about this recently, like, Darwin, evolution, like it is not the strongest or necessarily the fastest that continues down the lineage. It's the one that is best able to adapt. And so whatever situation you're in, you have to be able to adapt. And now I'm doing that even more with the martial arts, man, because I grew up doing Taekwondo. And what we're doing is completely different. Like, all I would ever do is like kick. You're going to stay on this side of my leg and I'm never letting you get in. Now, then we started doing boxing, which is no fucking legs at all. Now I had to fucking shapeshift, and now I have to see what a boxer is. Like, what is that? Now I started watching like Floyd Mayweather and stuff. Now we're doing jujitsu, which is being on the ground. Now I'm shape-shifting into that. What is a jujitsu fighter? What is this warrior? In all of these different scenarios, you have to be able to move in and out fluidly into everything. So I would suggest everyone go look up that Bruce Lee video. I mean, I think it's pretty popular. I think most people should know it, but Bruce Lee be water. Like, he explains it very beautifully. So yeah, that's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm curious, do you think that everyone is shapeshifting? Because everybody puts on a different hat when they go to work, when they're drinking with their buddies, when they're at home. They talk different. Most people have some self-consciousness about cursing around their parents or something like that, or not bringing their personal drama to work. And they is that the same thing that you're talking about, or is there some difference?
It's kind of along the same lines. However, I know whenever people do that, it's like they have a sense of withdrawal, or they feel like they're not being authentic, right? It's like I don't, how could I say this? It's like you'll feel fake or whatever, right? Like, if I go out and I talk this way to somebody and talk this way to another person, like, it feels inauthentic. And so people get kind of bound and get kind of restricted by that. And like, they feel like, oh, I have to be real all the time. I have to be like 100% all the time. And it's like, no, you shouldn't be 100% with a fucking 6-year-old. Like, you shouldn't, you should be different. But so that's kind of one part of it. And then the other part I would say is kind of going back into the animals, is like taking on these different characters. So the animals is just an example, but you could take on, say, characters from, movies that you like, say, comics. Like, for me, some big ones were like The Matrix. Like, Neo is like one of my favorite characters. I love the Joker. I loved V for Vendetta. It's kind of like the concept of the werewolf, the concept of the vampire. Like, you can take on these roles, and I'm not out fucking biting people and sucking their blood or whatever, but you can kind of break down the aesthetics and the philosophy of how that could be applied to whatever situation that you're in.
For sure. So I definitely see a difference in the intention and the exaggerated, or the effort to pick a really extreme archetype, or a clear archetype. I think a lot of people are somewhere kind of in between archetypes. They're a blend and they're not really fully committed. It'd be like seeing somebody play a role but not really trying. And that's how people are living their life. They're like playing that role, but they're kind of fed up playing the role. And so they've kind of given up and they're not trying. And they're actually, a lot of people, like, it's kind of like in school and public school growing up, it was like the cooler kids seem to care less. So everybody in an attempt to be cool would try to care less. And so people have like grown up as adults and they think it's cool that they don't care about their life and they don't care about how they look and they don't care about their game and they don't care about the future of their business or whatever. And I don't think that's very cool. But what you're saying, and I was in that too. I was in that fog, in that hypnosis, in that, delusion of, cool is not trying or something like that. And I think that's where a lot of spiritual people go down the drain, where they're like trying to be less ego, less this, less that. But they're not doing it in a genuine way. They're doing it in a way that's actually building up their ego around the idea of I'm egoless.
Yeah.
And, so they become fragile. But I get it. Like they're just trying to be cool, whatever, and not care about life. And it's just that. And so, but then we step in with this shape shifting, and it's like we pick these extreme archetypes, which are not really extreme. Another way to say that might be pure archetypes, or purer archetypes that are less diluted and just more clear and delineated. And we pick those, and like whether it's an animal or a movie character or a historical character or whatever, sci-fi character, then or even just I was just thinking, what would an alien be? Is that that's not a sci-fi character, because it's like science nonfiction, a sci-non-fi character, and we pick those and we calibrate our communication, our beingness, and everything based on these characters. And so people are doing that because they have pictures in their head of how they're being, and they're running the same mechanism when they change hats or change character around different people or in different situations. But we're taking control of that automatic or autonomic mechanism and putting in some philosophy, which I'm about to ask you about, some philosophy, some tech, some wisdom about it. And like, let's be that stoic, or let's be that warrior, and we don't fuck around. We dabble in all these things. I mean, we may not be going to war, like tribal war, like the warriors have passed, but they weren't doing law and they weren't disseminating their wisdom, to the masses. Like we have our own battle, a battle of psychology, but we're not losing our roots, and we're looking to the future. And, I really like how you talked about, finding, getting used to all of these, shape-shifting into all of these kinds of fighters, made it clear, you got to become, your nervous system's got to become flexible in a way, not your muscles, like you can reach your toes or whatever, but a nervous system, like you can tolerate the hot and the cold. You could tolerate the ground and the boxing and the kicking and eventually weapons and all of these things. And, even tolerate the new guys coming in that pick a fight, or the big guys, or, the more experienced guys or whatever. And you're doing that with your game also, stretching in all these directions, 2 sets, 3 sets, mixed sets, high-end bars, on the street, at the dance floor, at your place of business, all kinds of situations, the CVS pharmacy or something. And then in business, man, big deals, lots of little deals, free value, like all these situations, and then of course, as a lawyer, which is business, it's just amazing. So you're really getting the width and the depth and the breadth and the height of the human experience at a high level. And, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too much further into that, but it was just making it clear, like the shape shifting into taking the intention and using pure archetypes and really stretching to the extremes of what humans are doing and seeing in life, and being an artist of their own life. We're artists of our life, and we're creating it unplugged from the matrix. But of course, we're plugged into whatever degree we're plugged in, and we're trying to free ourselves, and we're stretching the boundaries of it, Man, I could go into that. That'll be my next talk. I think on Monday, I'm going to talk about the schedule. I'm going to talk about this thing on Monday. So look forward to that. So last question before we wrap it up. You talked about a philosophy of life. And I think in my experience with dealing with people and new people that aren't really IMC, they haven't studied this stuff. What does that mean? Philosophy of life. Could you go into some depth with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the baseline philosophy when the Beast process started was that of Stoicism. And so I have my book upstairs of 3 different Stoics. It was Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. And
So also specifically, like,
yeah, you want, like, actually, I'm going to get into it. I just wanted to give some background so people could, if they want to look it up, like that would be where these ideas come from. And
well,
so,
just not specifically like what your philosophy of life. I mean, yes, that, but I mean, like, what is a philosophy of life? What does that mean?
Oh, okay.
And then also your sources, or some of the broad strokes.
Sure, yeah. So, like, what is a philosophy of life?
Yeah, what does that mean? I think when we say that to people, they don't, you know what I mean? Like, they don't, what is that? They accept it, but it's kind of like they don't, what is that?
It's a structure. I would say it's a structure in your mind, or like a structure in your heart of how you approach the world. Like that's really what it would be. So like, say if you had the philosophy of a warrior, it would be that I'm here to fight, and I may die, but it doesn't fucking matter, but I'm here to fucking fight. So that could be a philosophy, right, for the warrior that you could take on. And so in everything you do, that is kind of underlying, like, in the subconscious and in the movement of what it does. So like that would be kind of a philosophy of life. It's kind of how do you look at the world? What is your frame of the world? Like, say if I were a king, like if I were a king of a fucking kingdom, if I were the king of England, like my philosophy of the world would be that I'm here to rule. I'm here to rule this land to the best of my ability, and to make sure that, like, my people are safe. And then maybe I also want to conquer new lands. Like that would be a philosophy that a king would have. Say if I were, let's say, like, the captain of a ship, I'm here to traverse all of the seas of Earth and to find all of the treasures that it has within. Like, it's just how do you look at this world, and how do you approach it? Like that would be kind of my definition of a philosophy of your life.
Gotcha. Okay, so then what is your philosophy of life?
Yeah. And
how does it relate with IMC? How's it different from IMC? Same, different? And then what's like base 2? How does that fit in that?
Yeah, so the baseline philosophy is Stoicism, which is, for me, the main ideas are that I am in control of me, and I am not in control of anybody else. And so anything anybody else does, it does not affect me emotionally. Like, yeah, sure, I'll, if something needs to be corrected, or like somebody leaves something around, it's like, yeah, we can talk about it, fixing that. But like, I am not here to make sure that you're okay, or I'm not here to control everything that you do. I control everything I do. And so it is not so much about what is happening in the world. It is so much how I'm responding to the world. And as long as I take responsibility for that, then I'm good. And I actually don't need to worry about anything else. And so by having that around me as I move along through the world, I have a sense of, like, peace and stability, I would say. It's like I'm not worried about if this girl likes me. I'm worried about me getting my communication across properly, and then me practicing that. And that is where I get my fulfillment or my validation. If she likes me, great. If she doesn't like me, great. But that's how I'm approaching this thing. So the baseline philosophy would be Stoicism. And then on top of that, like I said, I grew up in the martial arts, and we're doing martial arts again. And so the philosophy of the warrior is also definitely within me, which is what I was just talking about, which is that I'm here to fight. Like, I'm not going to just back down. You're not just going to win. Like, especially in law, like this is where I really take that shit in. It's like, you're not about to take my client's money, or you're not about to evict my client from their home. You're not about to break this contract with my client without paying him what it's worth. Like, the concept of the warriors, like, I'm here to fucking fight, bro. I'm here to get it done. Whatever it is, it needs to get done, and I'm going to make sure it happens. I'm not just going to lay down. And so the philosophy of the warrior is here within me as well. Let's see if there's any other ideas. Definitely that of Christianity, man. Like, the concept that God is above me, and he created me in his image, and he knows my heart, and he knows my soul, and he knows what I want. And everything that belongs to him belongs to me. I am the father. I am the son of my father, of the Holy Father. And so his kingdom is my kingdom. And so I'm here to enjoy the fruits that he gave me. Like, I'm here to enjoy that. This is my kingdom, and I'm here to explore it and to have fun with it. Those would be the main ones that I say I operate with. But, in every little field, there's kind of an idea or a philosophy that goes with it. But
Yeah.
I would those are like the main ones.
That's great, man. I feel like I got to know you a lot more on this podcast. So I'm sure everybody else did too. If they've heard you before, I mean, they can go back in the archive. It's like episode 330 now or something. So somewhere in there, I've had Wil on before. And I think this is at your highest rank and, you know, the most well-spoken. You've been streaming a lot. You have your own stream. If you'd like to take a second to pitch anything you got going on, groups or anything, go for it.
Yeah, sure. So I have an IMC TV show called the Yin Yang Wolfpack. And it's very, I created the name, you know, from just my inspirations, which was the Wolfpack, as I explained earlier, and then the Yin Yang, which was a big painting in the back of my Taekwondo dojo. And so I saw it every day that I came in. And so that was just stuck into my subconscious. And I have the tattoo here. And so the Yin Yang Wolfpack just made sense. And so we do it every Sunday at 4 p.m. And you can log in, reach out to me on my Telegram, and it's going to be on the IMC TV YouTube. And then I also have weekly streams of Base 2, which are all the guys that are here. So it's me and 4 other IMC Nation monks, warrior monks, shape-shifting warrior monks. And we discuss our philosophy, you know, how we've been doing when we go out, like different game, like, you know, if you're interested in getting girls, talking to girls, like we break down the game and you can come and learn that. And then on top of that, we have a residency program, meaning you can come and live with us for a week, for a few days, however long you want, and then go out with us, go game, come to Panja with us, come learn how to train, come fight, live as a monk, be in our group chat, like our communication, like the way we speak to each other. Like I had to learn this when I joined IMC. It's like we have a very high level of communication with each other that the world does not have at all. Like you're not in communication with your friends the way we are in communication with each other. Like I said, we're a fucking wolf pack. We're coordinated, we're timely, like we know, okay, we're doing this, we're going out together, we're going out for the hunts. Like it's a wolf pack. It's not a bunch of lone wolves, it's a wolf pack. So if you want to learn what that is and how that feels, then come to Base 2 and we'll show you the ropes. And you'll get to hang out with AZD and Yogi Chris. And fuck, man. Like dude, I don't know why anyone would not want to do this shit. Like, bro, like I'm living this shit and I just want to keep doing this. Like there's nothing else to do. And so, but I remember before I was IMC that this just wasn't my reality and I didn't really have an idea of what it meant. But now that I'm living it, there's nothing better, man. This is the path and I'm on it and I'm so grateful.
That's right. Fuck yeah, me too. That was great. And that was a great pitch too. So anybody contact Wil Rios, we'll have him tagged in the description. Of course, smash that like and follow and subscribe, whatever it's called on all the platforms. And we'll check in with Wil Rios again soon, I'm sure. So these are like time capsules. It's amazing. It's amazing. We're still just youngins, kids at this. And, you know, I feel great. I feel great as a 20. I almost thought I was 28 right there. I'm 36. Jesus, what year is this? Have you ever done that? You forgot how old you are?
It's starting now. It's starting now for me. I'm like, wait, what?
I think we're supposed to live to be about 800 or 900 years old. So I really feel young. And anyway, I'll see you guys on the next Enlightened Masculinity episode. Right now it's Saturdays, 5 p.m. on IMC TV, but that might change. And of course, on all the platforms. And thank you, Wil, for your time. And I'll see you tonight. And I'll see all the other guys when I see you.
Oh, thank you, brother.